Welcome guys, and today we are on the 11th game of the Queen's Gambit Decline model games. Uh, there are totally 16 games, and I think all these 16 games would be very illustrative. Uh, the next game, the game now we are going to see is between Kasparov playing white and Sosonko playing black in Tilburg 1981. It is d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, bishop b4, and cd5, ed5, and bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, c5, e3, g5, bishop g3, knight e4, bishop b5 check, and king f8. Uh, Actually, white has a great tactical problems here. Uh, uh, Related to both to the a5 e1 diagonal and the b5 bishop. uh, Black often wants to play bishop takes c3, b takes c3, and c4 in order to exploit his majority on the queen side. White's bishop would then be very poorly placed. However, Kasparov had a formidable novelty in his mind for this game. And then d takes c5. This move, offering an exchange sacrifice, initiates a very clever concept by which uh, white solves the issue in his position. It is known that after castling isn't so good on account of bishop takes c3, b takes c3, and c4. White is doing badly. And after knight takes c3, uh, b takes c3, uh, and then bishop takes c3 and king e2, bishop takes a1 and queen takes a1. White has a tremendous amount of compensation. The position heavily favors bishops over knights and even over rooks. f6. This is the best defense. Black is weak on the dark squares, and this move at least tries to get back some control over them. If instead after king g8, then bishop e5, rook h7, and bishop f6, queen a5, and bishop d3, white is already winning. So after f6, h4, a very handy move to have, trying to price open the position and obtain more squares for the white pieces. Uh, Also worthy of consideration was the immediate rook d1 with king g7, and bishop c4 and bishop e6, and queen b2 as a possible continuation. Black has a big issues here too. So after h4, g4. Logically, black tries to keep the lines closed, but king g7 should have been played here. After which things aren't that clear according to Kasparov. Uh, White still has wonderful compensation here. Knight d4, king f7, bishop d3. This is a very smart move. There are two purposes. One is b5, is being one is b5 is being cleared for the knight, which can soon join the battle via d6, and by playing h5, white can create an outpost for his bishop on g6, after which a mating net is beginning to take shape. And another candidate move is rook to b1, but then black has a nice answer in store: knight c6, king f1. uh, After king f1, there is knight e5, and black has managed to shore up his previously decrypt citadel. So after sorry guys, sorry for that. uh, After knight d4, king f7, bishop d3, and knight d7. Here a6 was preferred in order to prevent the maneuver of knight b5. But this is no picnic for black either. After rook b1, knight c6, and rook b6 comes. So after queen c3, knight e5. Here the black player wants to complete his development as soon as possible. But an even more disciplined player would have continued with the b6, and after c6, there is knight c5. Uh, Here then knight d6. I'm sorry. After knight e5, there is knight b5 and queen e7, and then knight d6 check and king f8. Now white faces an interesting choice. How should he continue attacking? Rook d1. This is the correct square for the rook. This is the only piece that hadn't been called into play yet. The move is clearly based on principle, not only because of the above factor, but also because of further enhancing king safety and the ability to develop play on the d file. Uh, b6, and then bishop c2, um, bishop a6, and king e1, bishop c4, knight takes c4, d c4, and right now it seems like black might weather the storm, but with this next move, Kasparov proves he still holds the initiative, and his bishops are still worth a rook. Rook d6, and here with the pretty threat of rook takes f6, the doomed pawn on c5 lives for just long enough to facilitate this blow. Uh, Rook e8, bishop takes c5. This is an excellent trade. Black's only active piece is removed, and Kasparov demonstrates that in this position diagonals have overwhelming importance. After f takes c5, uh, queen takes c4, queen f7. Here, if instead rook d8, then there is bishop b3. After rook takes d6, c takes d6, queen d7, there is queen d5, and there are threats of after queen h7, queen d5, and after queen h7 there is queen takes e5 and queen g7, there is queen f8 check and king e8 and bishop a4. So queen f7, queen e4, and then g3, and f takes g3. Black resigned here since there are threats of bishop b3 and queen c6. So the final position illustrates the difference in activity between white and black's pieces. Here you can see the passed pawn on c6 can go, or queen can come to c6, bishop can come to b3. There are a lot of threats for black. The diagonals, the white squares are weak, and the bishop is dominating the diagonals. I hope this game would be illustrative. I'll meet you in the next game, guys.